When Kohei and Iori gave Keiki her drink she asked for, and she asked for a screwdriver. And then all of a sudden, when the drink comes on screen, you see a I didn't think this series would take it that literal. That had me dying. I just finished the episode, and Grand Blue it's great. It's a great series. What even got me was that after the screwdriver was in the drink, she's like, make it rot. And they remake it, and then the next drink comes back on screen, a remade screwdriver, and you see a flathead screwdriver. That had me dying. You have a regular, and they're like, oh, we messed up, let's put a regular flathead. And I'm thinking to myself, who drinks a drink with a screwdriver in it? Come on, think about that for a second. So this show, Grand Blue, it's definitely a show to end the day off with. If you're wanting to conclude the day on a happy note, funny note, whatever, this is your show. This is your series. This right here is honestly one of the best ways to end off a week. Fridays are the final days usually of the week for a lot of people. You either get off of school or work, whatever. This would be a perfect series to finish off your week with, because this right here, this episode had me dying. So, let's talk about the whole movie scene with the bartender, shaking of the drink to the passing of the glass and all that. When I saw Kohei, he's just shaking the drink and you just see it splashing Iori all over the face. I'm like, oh, this poor man. And he just, the way he just sits there, he just literally just sitting there taking the drink to the face. He's like, and you just see it just splashing on his head. I'm like, dude, do you not realize you're supposed to cover the top and shake it? And just, the way it kept going to his face, even the next scene when they slung the glass to each other, you see it just shatter. I'm like, how to ruin an image. What Keiki said is exactly what I was thinking. How to ruin good movie moments, that, cool movie moments. They ruined it easily, especially the tipping of the glass, cheers and all that, and he just poured it in the man's eyes. But as you can see, I really enjoyed this episode of Grand Blue. It was fantastic. I honestly expected Okinawa in this episode. I figured we were going to go on our journey for that, but that didn't happen this week, which, you know what, I'm fine with, because this episode was hilarious. So the main point of this episode, before I get back into the comedy, is Iori and Kohei trying to work up and get some money, or at least the first half of the episode's about that. Them trying to get money before they can go to Okinawa and have their living expenses, because the overall contest they were doing in the previous episode was just the traveling expenses, not their living expenses, which I think is actually kind of a lie, because you remember at the end of the last episode, the two dudes are, jockeys. They were just, they were joking about diving. They actually just want to test out Okinawa alcohol. That's what they want. And so when you think about that, I believe most likely the reason why they say that it's only covering traveling expenses is because it probably does, normally. But they want the extra money because they're going to be just spending it all. So that's what I'm assuming. But, anyways, we get to see them try to get money. At first, just seeing how they had, a movers company at first. You just see how slow they were moving it. And just, I was thinking to myself, that reminds me a lot of when I was working at my job, in the factory stuff, when I had to change fixtures over. You guys probably don't know what that is. If you never worked in a factory or anything, you probably don't know, exactly what goes down in it. But you have to, change over these fixtures, this table, and you gotta actually move, this 100-pound to sometimes almost close to 200-pound fixtures to change them over into something else before you can get back to work. And I remember having to pick those up all the time. I remember when I first got there, I was like Kohei and Iori, and how slow they were. They're they're just struggling. And then, but at the end of my time there, when I was working there before I, actually quit, I remember I was able to just pick them up, slam them down like it was nothing, and I had no problem whatsoever. I was like, I see a bit of myself in that, just when I was watching that segment of the episode, and it got, a good nostalgic reaction out of me. Now, anyways, we get into the bartender scene. The bartender scene is hilarious for many different reasons. Besides the screwdriver scene and messing up Keiki's order, we also have the scene with how the actual owner of the bar comes in, and he mistakes Iori and Kohei's relationship, and that had me dying, because the way Asusa, like, mentioned it, and they're like, oh yeah, they have a very naked relationship, and I'm like, oh, like, how to make a misunderstanding. Obviously, Asusa, she was saying that purposely, because she actually ships those two together, we know this, but, you know, the way it was saying it, when the man started getting wrong ideas, and when he walks over to Iori, and then, you know, Iori's looking at Chisa behind the dude, and he's looking at Kohei behind him, and they're both getting a complete misunderstanding, and just the way the man's hair just goes out of the line, he's just starting to stress out. That was great. But then when he goes and grabs the tea, and he just passes unconscious, and, you know, Iori's like, you better wake up, or we're gonna do some things while you're asleep. And the man just wakes up with a very serious attitude. I'm like, of course he wakes up after that, especially after what he found out, or thought he found out about you. So, the entire first half of the episode was hilarious. I honestly have to say that the series continuously one-ups itself, which is surprising. You don't think a series could do that. I mean, I've seen a lot of comedy anime throughout my life and all that, and just comedy in general. I like me a good, you know, segment of comedy throughout my day. I love laughing. It's something that just brings me great joy. And just seeing how Grand Blue every single week can one-up itself, it always continues the story. It is very consistent. The story is progressing. Like, it may not be like what you would see from a seinen shonen series, to where, like, the story's getting very action-packed, ramping up, and, you know, you have a clear end game. Grand Blue's not like that. But it feels like the series is actually progressing, but day by day. Like, hopefully you understand what I mean. It actually feels like a legit slice of life series. It doesn't feel like rinse and repeat the same thing. You have it where these characters are living out their day, going throughout their days, just trying to do things and have fun. I mean, seeing the segment with how they're trying to work out and get money and all that, that's progression. That's progression from the last episode. And I like how consistent Grand Blue is because of that. Now, anyways, shelving that, let's talk about the second half. Now, the second half, at first glance when I was watching it, like, my first emotions, I was like, you scummy sacks of scum. What you just did to your friend, messing up his relationship with a girl, I'm like, that's scummy. But after thinking about everything, they kind of saved the man, because what he did towards his childhood friend at the end and what he said, I guess it wasn't going to work out in the long run. But even then, though, it was a very scummy thing to do to their friend, or supposed friend, ruining his chance with a girl. So let's get into that. Right off the bat, it's very obvious, if you have a childhood friend, you're never going to be with her. That's not going to happen. I'm sorry to say it, but childhood friends never win. And when, you know, Kohei was just screaming, childhood friend, he was screaming in the air, I was like, yeah, I'm just along with you. He's never going to be able to be with her. It's not destiny. Like, it's fate. You cannot, like, get with your childhood friend. It's a common thing you see throughout any type of series. And so when I saw that, I'm like, yeah, this man's destined to fail regardless. And also, on top of that, what he did at the end, when they actually ruined his chances, and, you know, straight up, he's like, hey, you know, could you introduce me to your other girlfriends and all that? And I'm like, you don't just say that with a girl that just broke up with you. That just shows like you never cared about the relationship in the first place. So, in that moment, I guess they saved him, because it was going to be a long relationship, and she was going to get hurt. She was going to get into a very bad relationship, get hurt, and it would just been messy. So, I guess they did him a favor, even though their intentions weren't that good. It was very scummy intentions. They technically did stop, at the very least, the girl, the childhood friend, from, you know, having a painful relationship. Anyways, I have to say, like, the arms on that girl, oh my god, like, that's some scary, veiny looking arms, the way she buffed up. I'm like, okay, this man's about to die. This man is about to die. I mean, he's just getting choked and all. I'm like, okay, like, this girl is no joke. The way she just grabbed his phone, looked at it, and then grabbed the man, I'm like, whoa, like, you don't want to mess with this girl. Like, she's gonna mess you up if you're not careful around her. So, yeah, he lucked out, I think. He had a potential yandere girlfriend. He lucked out, and I just like, okay, so, interesting development in that second half. But even then, though, his group of friends, though, like, I'm not really... I like what they do throughout the series. I have enjoyed what they've done in these episodes, but that's still scummy. Ruining your man's, like, chances of being with a girl. I think that's kind of scum. And I wasn't the biggest fan of the way they went about that. But, like I said, I guess in the end the results were of a good deed. So yeah, that's pretty much this episode of Grand Blue. It's a good episode. It's enjoyable, it's funny, and it's everything I wanted from the series. Actually, plus more. It's way more than I expected from this series, and so I'm just glad to be watching this. Once again, thank you guys for all of you recommending me this. I really appreciate that, because this has been a blast every single Friday. Anyways, I love you guys. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.